The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's sky without warning. It hung there, silent and menacing, casting a shadow over the bustling city below. People stopped in their tracks, necks craned upwards, mouths hanging open in awe and fear. Inside the ship, Commander Zix surveyed the planet with cold, calculating eyes. His tentacles twitched as he processed the data streaming across the holographic displays. "Primitive," he muttered, just as our reports indicated. His second-in-command, Officer Krell, nodded in agreement. "Their technology is centuries behind ours, Commander. This conquest will be swift." Zix's mouthparts curved into what passed for a smile in his species. "Indeed. Prepare the scouting parties. We'll begin with a small incursion to test their defenses." As the aliens plotted, humanity scrambled to respond. In the Pentagon, General Sarah Johnson barked orders at her staff, her face grim but determined. "I want every available unit on high alert," she commanded, "and get me the President on the line. Now." Across the globe, similar scenes played out in military headquarters and government offices. Leaders huddled in emergency meetings, scientists pored over data, and civilians alternated between panic and fascination. In a small town in the Midwest, Jimmy Parker watched the news with wide eyes. The 12-year-old clutched his dog, Rex, tightly. "Don't worry, boy," he whispered. "The Army will protect us." Little did Jimmy know that his town would soon be ground zero for humanity's first encounter with the alien invaders. As night fell, the alien ship dispatched a smaller craft. It zoomed towards Earth, its stealth technology making it invisible to most human sensors. Its destination, Jimmy's town. The alien craft touched down in a cornfield just outside the town limits. A hatch opened with a hiss, and 5 alien soldiers emerged. They were tall, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like oil on water. Each carried a weapon that looked like a cross between a rifle and a small cannon. "Remember," the squad leader growled, "this is just a test. Minimal engagement. We're here to assess their capabilities." The aliens moved silently through the cornfield, their adaptive camouflage blending perfectly with their surroundings. They reached the edge of town undetected. Or so they thought. In a hidden bunker beneath the local sheriff's office, a lone technician stared at her screen in disbelief. The experimental sensor array she'd been testing, a piece of tech so cutting-edge even most of the military didn't know about it, had picked up the alien landing. With shaking hands, she reached for her phone. "Sir," she stammered when the sheriff answered, "you're not going to believe this, but..." Within minutes, the sheriff had contacted the state police, who contacted the National Guard, who contacted the Pentagon. General Johnson received the news with a mix of dread and determination. "So it begins," she murmured. Then, louder, "Deploy the QRF and activate Protocol Omega." Back in the town, the aliens had begun their infiltration. They moved from shadow to shadow, scanning buildings and occasionally snatching samples of plants or stray animals for analysis. "Primitive materials," one alien soldier noted, running a sensor over a parked car. "Inefficient combustion engines. No energy shielding." The squad leader nodded. "As expected, this species is no threat to us." Suddenly, a dog's bark pierced the night. The aliens froze. In his bedroom, Jimmy sat up, awakened by Rex's frantic barking. "What is it, boy?" he whispered, peering out the window. His eyes widened as he saw a shimmer of movement in the street below, a shape that was decidedly not human. As Jimmy watched in terror, more shapes appeared. The aliens had abandoned stealth, confident in their superiority. They moved openly now, approaching the center of town. But they had made a grave mistake, for at that very moment, on the outskirts of town, the earth began to rumble. The aliens paused, confused by the vibrations their sensors were detecting. With a deafening roar, the ground split open. From the hidden underground hangar, a massive machine emerged. It was a mech suit, standing 5 stories tall, bristling with weapons. And it wasn't alone. Two more rose up behind it, their pilots ready for battle. The alien squad leader had just enough time to realize how terribly wrong their intelligence had been before the night lit up with weapons fire. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity was not going down without a fight. The alien squad leader, Grix, stared in disbelief at the towering mechs. His mandibles clicked rapidly in alarm. "Impossible," he hissed. "They're tech level. We were wrong." The three massive war machines stomped forward, each step shaking the earth. Their pilots, hidden inside armored cockpits, worked the controls with practiced ease. Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez, piloting the lead mech, allowed herself a grim smile. "Let's show these invaders what humanity's got," she said over the comm. The alien soldiers scrambled for cover, their confident demeanor shattered. They fired their energy weapons, but the beams splashed harmlessly against the mech's shields. "Primitive, are we?" Rodriguez muttered. She targeted the nearest alien and fired. A barrage of missiles streaked from her mech's shoulder launchers. The alien tried to dodge, but the missiles were too fast, too smart. The explosion lit up the night, leaving nothing but a smoking crater. In orbit, Commander Zix watched the battle unfold through the squad's live feeds. His eyes widened in shock. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our intel said they were centuries behind us." Officer Krell frantically analyzed the data streaming in. "It appears, sir, that the humans have kept their true capabilities hidden. These machines, they're beyond anything we expected." Back on the ground, the battle raged. The aliens fought bravely, but they were hopelessly outmatched. Their weapons, so feared across the galaxy, barely scratched the mech's armor. Jimmy Parker watched from his bedroom window, awe replacing fear. Rex barked excitedly beside him. "Look, boy!" Jimmy exclaimed. "We're winning." Across town, other residents emerged from their homes, cheering as the mechs drove the aliens back. But the aliens had one last trick up their sleeve. Grix, the squad leader, pulled out a small device. "Initiating Omega Protocol," he shouted. The device hummed to life, creating a shimmering energy field around the remaining aliens. It was a last-ditch teleportation device, meant for emergency retreats. Lieutenant Rodriguez saw what was happening. "Oh no, you don't," she growled. She fired her mech's main cannon, a massive railgun that launched projectiles at hypersonic speeds. The round streaked through the air, aimed perfectly at Grix. But it was too late. With a flash of light, the aliens vanished, teleported back to their ship. All except Grix. The railgun round caught him just as he began to dematerialize. There was a blinding explosion of energy as the teleportation field collapsed. When the light faded, Grix lay on the ground, injured but alive. The humans had captured their first alien. As medical teams rushed to secure the alien prisoner, General Johnson received the after-action report at the Pentagon. "Well done, Lieutenant Rodriguez," she said over the video link. "You and your team have given humanity its first victory." Rodriguez saluted. "Thank you, ma'am. But this is just the beginning, isn't it?" Johnson nodded gravely. "Indeed it is. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." News of the battle spread like wildfire. Across the globe, people celebrated this first victory against the alien invaders. But world leaders knew the war was far from over. In the White House Situation Room, the president addressed her crisis team. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, her voice steady despite the pressure, "today we've shown the universe that humanity is not to be trifled with. But our real test is yet to come." She turned to her chief of staff. "Initiate Operation Global Shield. It's time to reveal our full strength." As dawn broke over the small town, now a battlefield, Jimmy Parker stepped outside. He looked up at the mechs, still standing guard, then at the alien ship still visible in the sky. "We're not scared of you anymore," he said softly. Little did Jimmy know, but his words echoed the sentiment growing around the world. Humanity had been challenged, and humanity had risen to that challenge. In orbit, Commander Zix prepared a message to his superiors. The humans, he realized, were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The real war was about to begin. As the sun rose over Earth, humanity prepared for war. In every country, hidden facilities rumbled to life. Underground hangars opened, revealing arsenals that had been kept secret for decades. At Area 51, Dr. Emily Chen stood before a massive hangar door. She took a deep breath and pressed her hand against the scanner. With a loud hiss, the door slid open, revealing a sight that would have seemed impossible just days ago. Inside, rows of sleek spacecraft stood ready. They were the product of reverse-engineered alien technology, combined with human ingenuity. Dr. Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Time to show the aliens what we've learned from them," she murmured. Meanwhile, in a top-secret facility beneath the Pentagon, General Johnson briefed the world's military leaders via holographic conference. "Operation Global Shield is now active," she announced. "Our orbital defense platforms are coming online as we speak." On screens around the room, satellites in Earth's orbit transformed. Hidden panels opened, revealing advanced weapon systems. The leaders watched in awe as Earth's first line of defense took shape. In Moscow, President Volkov nodded approvingly. "The aliens will not find us so easy to conquer this time," he said. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In Beijing, supersonic jets with plasma cannons took to the skies. In New Delhi, engineers activated a massive energy shield designed to protect the entire subcontinent. But the most impressive display was yet to come. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the sea began to churn. Slowly, majestically, a massive structure rose from the depths. It was the SSBN Poseidon, a submarine unlike any other. At over a kilometer long, it dwarfed even the largest aircraft carriers. Captain Sarah Lee stood on the bridge, watching as water cascaded off the hull. "Poseidon is surfaced and ready," she reported, awaiting final authorization. Back in Washington, the president received the message. She closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of her decision. Then, with a firm voice, she gave the order. "Activate the Poseidon Protocol." On the submarine, Captain Lee entered a complex series of codes. Panels on the Poseidon's hull slid open, revealing row after row of launch tubes. But these weren't for ordinary missiles. Each tube contained a specially designed spacecraft, capable of both atmospheric and space combat. As the first craft launched, streaking into the sky, alien sensors went crazy. Aboard the alien mothership, Commander Zix stared at the readings in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "Where did they hide such power?" Officer Krell's voice shook as he reported, "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures all over the planet. Weapons, shields, craft, their technology. It's comparable to ours." Zix's eyes narrowed. "We've been deceived. All our intelligence, useless." He slammed a tentacle against his command console. "Prepare for full-scale invasion. We'll crush them with overwhelming force." But humanity wasn't done revealing its secrets. In orbit, the moon's surface suddenly shifted. A massive section of the lunar landscape slid aside, revealing a sprawling base. Hundreds of ships poured out, a reserve fleet hidden in plain sight. Back on Earth, in his small town, Jimmy Parker watched the news with wide eyes. The reporter's voice was filled with excitement. In an unprecedented move, world governments have revealed a unified Earth defense force. Technologies we thought were science fiction are now our reality. Humanity stands ready to defend itself. Jimmy's father, a retired Air Force pilot, put a hand on his son's shoulder. "I always knew this day would come," he said softly. "That's why I trained you on those video games." "They weren't games, son. They were simulators." Jimmy looked up at his father in shock, then back at the TV. The games he'd been playing for years suddenly took on a new meaning. He wasn't just a kid anymore. He was a trained pilot. As if on cue, Jimmy's phone buzzed. It was a government alert. "All trained reserves, report for duty." Jimmy stood up, a mix of fear and determination on his face. "I'm ready," he said. Across the planet, millions like Jimmy answered the call. Humanity had hidden its strength for years, preparing for this moment. Now, united and armed with technologies the aliens never expected, Earth was ready for the real battle. In orbit, Zix gave the order to attack, unaware that he was about to face a foe far more formidable than he ever imagined. The true war for Earth was about to begin. The sky lit up with explosions as the alien fleet descended upon Earth. Thousands of ships filled the air, their weapons primed and ready. Commander Zix watched from his flagship, confident that this overwhelming force would crush the humans quickly. But Earth was ready. As the alien ships entered the atmosphere, they were met with a wall of fire. The orbital defense platforms, hidden in plain sight as satellites, unleashed a barrage of energy beams and missiles. Hundreds of alien ships exploded in seconds. Zix's eyes widened in shock. "Impossible," he roared. "Press the attack." On the ground, humanity's forces sprang into action. The mechs that had defended the small town now stood in formation with thousands more, spread across every continent. In New York, Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez piloted her mech through the streets, leading a squadron. Above them, alien dropships descended. "Remember your training," she shouted over the comm. "We've prepared for this." Her mech's arms raised, revealing hidden compartments. A swarm of micro-missiles launched, each one finding its target with deadly accuracy. Alien ships fell from the sky like rain. Meanwhile, in orbit, Earth's hidden fleet engaged the alien armada. Captain Lee's voice rang out from the SSBN Poseidon. "All ships, attack pattern Delta." The Earth ships moved with incredible speed and precision. Their weapons, reverse-engineered from alien tech and enhanced by human innovation, tore through the enemy's shields like paper. Aboard his flagship, Zix watched in horror as his fleet was decimated. "How?" he screamed. "How are they doing this?" Officer Krull's voice shook as he replied. "Sir, they're ships. They're not just copies of our tech. They've improved upon it, made it better." Back on Earth, the battle raged in every corner of the globe. In Tokyo, giant robots reminiscent of anime mecha battled alien walkers in the streets. In the Amazon rainforest, hidden bases revealed energy cannons that shot down alien ships trying to harvest resources. And high above the Arctic, a scene straight out of science fiction unfolded. A massive energy portal opened, and through it came reinforcements from Mars. Humanity's secret colony, established decades ago, now joined the fight. Jimmy Parker found himself in the thick of it all. The video game training had prepared him well. He piloted a small, agile fighter craft, weaving through the chaos of aerial combat. "Watch your 6, Falcon 3, came a voice over his comm. Jimmy barrel rolled just in time to avoid enemy fire. His targeting computer locked onto the alien fighter. With a thought, the neural interface responding instantly, he fired. Another enemy down. "Thanks for the save, Falcon 1, Jimmy replied, his heart racing. He could hardly believe he was really doing this, really fighting to save Earth. On the ground, Dr. Emily Chen coordinated the global defense from a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Holographic displays showed battles raging worldwide. "Activate the Gaia Protocol," she ordered. Across the planet, hidden terraforming engines roared to life. The Earth itself became a weapon. In Australia, the ground opened up, swallowing alien ground forces. In Russia, sudden localized blizzards froze enemy ships mid-flight. The aliens found themselves outmatched at every turn. Their supposed technological superiority meant nothing in the face of humanity's preparation and determination. As the battle entered its 5th hour, the tide had clearly turned. Earth's forces pushed the aliens back on all fronts. The skies began to clear as more and more enemy ships fell or retreated. Commander Zix stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His mighty invasion force, which had conquered countless worlds, was being routed by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "Sir," Officer Krell said quietly, perhaps we should consider retreat." Zix's tentacles curled in fury, but he knew Krell was right. With a heavy heart, he gave the order. "All forces, fall back. Retreat to the rally point beyond their moon." As the alien fleet began to withdraw, cheers erupted across the earth. In every city, every town, people emerged from shelters to see their defenders triumphant. But the war wasn't over. Everyone knew the aliens would be back, with an even larger force. Yet for the first time, humanity faced the future not with fear, but with confidence. They had stood against the best the aliens could throw at them, and they had won. Earth had revealed its true strength, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the alien fleet retreated beyond the moon, Earth celebrated its victory, but in secret bunkers and command centers, leaders knew the real work was just beginning. General Johnson stood before a holographic display of the solar system. Red dots showed the regrouping alien forces. "They'll be back," she said grimly. "And next time, they'll be ready for our tricks." In orbit, Captain Sarah Lee directed the cleanup operation from the SSBN Poseidon. Debris from destroyed ships cluttered Earth's orbit. "We need to clear this mess," she ordered, "and salvage what we can." Every piece of alien tech could be crucial. Meanwhile, on the alien flagship, Commander Zix faced a rebellion. Junior officers, led by Krell, surrounded him on the bridge. "You underestimated the humans," Krell accused. "Your leadership has cost us dearly." Zix's tentacles twitched nervously. "We can still win this. We just need—" An energy blast from Krell's weapon silenced him mid-sentence. "No more chances," Krell declared. "I'm taking command." Back on Earth, Jimmy Parker found himself hailed as a hero. News cameras swarmed around him as he stepped out of his fighter. "How does it feel to have helped save the world?" a reporter asked. Jimmy, still dazed from the battle, managed a shy smile. "I just did what I was trained to do," he said. "We all did." In Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered for an emergency summit. The U.S. President addressed the assembly. "Today, we stand united as never before, but our victory is not complete. We must prepare for the next wave." In a top-secret facility, Dr. Emily Chen led a team examining a captured alien soldier. The creature, sedated and restrained, lay on an examination table. "Its biology is fascinating," Chen mused. "If we can understand it, we might find new weaknesses to exploit." As humanity regrouped, the aliens did the same. In their hidden base on the far side of the moon, newly promoted Commander Krell addressed his troops. "We underestimated the humans once. We won't make that mistake again. Our next attack will crush them completely." The alien soldiers roared in agreement, thirsty for revenge. Unbeknownst to them, a tiny Earth drone, no bigger than an insect, recorded everything. In her command center, General Johnson watched the alien rally with narrowed eyes. "So that's their game," she muttered. "We'll be ready." Weeks passed. Earth's defenses grew stronger every day. The Gaia Protocol, which had turned the planet itself into a weapon, was refined and expanded. In orbit, a massive construction project began. Huge space stations took shape, bristling with weapons and protected by energy shields reverse-engineered from alien tech. On Mars, the hidden human colony expanded rapidly. New ships and weapons rolled off assembly lines, manned by eager volunteers from Earth. But the aliens weren't idle either. Their fleet grew, reinforced by ships from across their empire. New weapons were developed, designed specifically to counter Earth's defenses. As the inevitable second clash approached, both sides prepared furiously. The entire solar system became an armed camp. In his hometown, Jimmy trained hard, mastering new fighter designs. His father watched proudly as Jimmy ran combat simulations. "You're not just fighting for Earth now, son," he said. "You're fighting for the future of our species." In her lab, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough. We've cracked their genetic code, she announced excitedly. We can now create biological weapons that target only alien physiology. The news spread quickly. For the first time, humanity had a decisive advantage. But ethical debates rage. Was it right to use such weapons, even against invaders? The line between defender and aggressor blurred. As arguments heated up, a new signal came from deep space. General Johnson stared at the readout in disbelief. "It can't be," she whispered. The message, broadcast on all frequencies, was clear. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Council. Your conflict with the Galactic Empire has not gone unnoticed. Prepare to be judged." A new player had entered the game. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As news of the Galactic Council's arrival spread, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. They had surprised the aliens with their hidden strength. Now, they would have to surprise the entire galaxy with their wisdom and diplomacy. The next phase of the war was about to begin. And this time, the battleground would be as much in council chambers as in space. The arrival of the Galactic Council changed everything. A massive ship, unlike anything Earth or the Dalek had ever seen, appeared in orbit. It dwarfed even the largest battleships, its sleek design hinting at technology far beyond either warring faction. On Earth, leaders scrambled to prepare. In the White House Situation Room, the president addressed her crisis team. "We've fought off one alien invasion," she said firmly. "Now we need to convince an entire galactic community that we deserve our place among the stars." Meanwhile, aboard the alien moon base, Commander Krell received the news with shock. "The Council. Here," he hissed. "This complicates everything." Back on Earth, Dr. Emily Chen worked furiously in her lab. "If we can demonstrate our scientific achievements," she muttered, "maybe we can impress the Council." As both sides prepared, the Galactic Council made its first move. A message boomed across all communication channels. "Representatives of Earth and the Dalek Empire, you will each send 3 delegates to our ship for a hearing. Your actions have disturbed the peace of this sector. The Council will decide your fate." In Washington, D.C., frantic discussions erupted. Who should represent humanity in this crucial meeting? After heated debate, 3 delegates were chosen. General Sarah Johnson, for her military expertise; Dr. Emily Chen, to showcase human scientific prowess; and surprisingly, young Jimmy Parker. "The boy represents our future," the president explained, "and he's proven himself in battle. He'll show the Council the best of our youth." As Earth's delegation prepared, the Dalek did the same. Commander Krell chose himself, his top scientist, and unexpectedly, a captured human prisoner as their representatives. The day of the hearing arrived. A shuttle from the Council ship docked with the International Space Station, now heavily modified with alien tech. Earth's delegates boarded with a mix of fear and determination. Jimmy looked out the shuttle window as they approached the Council ship. "It's enormous," he whispered in awe. General Johnson nodded grimly. "Stay sharp, kid. The fate of our world rests on this meeting." Inside the Council ship, they were led to a vast chamber. Beings of all shapes and sizes filled the room, some humanoid, others utterly alien. At the center, on a raised platform, sat the Council members themselves. The head counselor, a being of pure energy contained in a translucent shell, spoke. "The hearing will now begin. Earth, present your case." General Johnson stepped forward. She spoke of humanity's long history, its struggles and triumphs. Dr. Chen showcased human scientific achievements, emphasizing their rapid adaptation of alien technology. Finally, Jimmy addressed the Council. His voice shook at first, but grew stronger as he spoke. "We may be young as a spacefaring species," he said, "but we have so much to offer. We're explorers, dreamers. Yes, we can fight. We've proven that. But we'd rather make friends than enemies." The Council listened impassively. Then, it was the Dalek's turn. Commander Krell painted humanity as a dangerous, unpredictable species. They hid their true capabilities, he argued. They cannot be trusted. The debate raged for hours. Arguments and counterarguments flew back and forth. The fate of two species hung in the balance. As the hearing seemed to reach a deadlock, an alarm blared. A council aide rushed in. Counselors, the Galactic fleet has been detected approaching the system. They're in attack formation. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Commander Krell looked as surprised as anyone. I gave no such order, he protested. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared on the main view screen. It was former Commander Zix, fought dead in the coup. Foolish council, Zix sneered. While you debated, I gathered our true forces. Now we'll destroy not just Earth, but you meddling counselors as well. The chamber erupted in panic. But amid the chaos, Jimmy Parker's voice rang out. Everyone, listen, he shouted. All eyes turned to the young human. We've all been played against each other. But right now, none of our past conflicts matter. We need to work together, or we all lose. There was a moment of stunned silence. Then, incredibly, voices of agreement began to rise, from humans, Galactic, and council members alike. The head counselor's energy form pulsed brightly. The boy speaks wisdom beyond his years. Very well. Earth, Galactic, Council, let us combine our strengths. Together, we will face this threat. As alarms blared and ships scrambled, an unprecedented alliance was formed. The final battle for the fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, was about to begin. The combined fleet of Earth, Galactic, and Galactic Council ships formed a defensive line around the planet. Former enemies now stood side by side, united against a common threat. Aboard the Council flagship, Jimmy Parker found himself in the thick of strategic planning. His experience as a fighter pilot and his quick thinking had earned him a spot at the command table. Zix's ships are designed to counter Earth and Galactic technology, Jimmy pointed out. But they won't be prepared for Council tech. We should use that to our advantage. General Johnson nodded approvingly. The boy's right. We need to combine our strengths in unexpected ways. As they finalized their battle plans, Zix's massive fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Thousands of ships filled the sky, their weapons charged and ready. Zix's face appeared on the communication screens. Surrender now, he growled, and I may spare some of you as slaves. The head counselor's energy form pulsed with determination. We reject your offer, Zix. Today, we stand as one against your tyranny. With that, the battle began. Zix's fleet opened fire, a barrage of energy weapons lighting up space. But the combined defensive line held strong, Council shields absorbing the brunt of the attack. Jimmy climbed into his fighter, now upgraded with a mix of Earth, Galactic, and Council tech. Falcon Squadron, form up on me, he called over the comm. A mix of human and Galactic pilots fell into formation behind him. As capital ships exchanged fire, Jimmy led his squadron through the chaos. They targeted Zix's command ships, their mixed weaponry confusing the enemy defenses. On Earth's surface, Dr. Chen coordinated the planet's defenses. The Gaia Protocol was in full effect, with weather control systems disrupting enemy formations and tectonic weapons shaking apart ships that ventured too close to the atmosphere. In orbit, the SSBN Poseidon unleashed its full arsenal. Captain Lee's voice rang out. All batteries, fire at will. Swarms of advanced missiles and energy beams struck out at the heart of Zix's fleet. The battle raged for hours. Losses mounted on both sides, but the defenders fought with the desperation of those protecting their homes and newfound alliance. Aboard his flagship, Zix watched in growing panic as his forces were slowly pushed back. Impossible, he roared. I had every advantage. But he had made one crucial mistake. He had united his enemies against him. The combined ingenuity and determination of Earth, the Galactic rebels, and the Galactic Council proved to be more than a match for his superior numbers. As the tide of battle turned, Jimmy spotted an opportunity. There, he shouted over the comm. Zix's flagship. Its shields are weakening. General Johnson's voice crackled in response. All forces, concentrate fire on that ship. This is our chance to end this. Every available weapon turned toward Zix's massive vessel. Council energy beams, Jalek plasma torpedoes, and Earth's reverse-engineered alien tech all struck at once. The ship's shields flickered and failed. Jimmy led the final assault, his squadron diving toward the flagship's bridge. "This is for Earth," he said quietly, launching his last missiles. The explosion lit up space like a newborn star. When the light faded, Zix's ship was nothing but scattered debris. A cheer went up across the combined fleet. Zix's forces, seeing their leader defeated, began to surrender en masse. As the last enemy ships powered down their weapons, an eerie quiet fell over the battlefield. Slowly, the realization dawned. They had won. Back on the council ship, celebrations erupted. Humans, Jalek, and council members embraced, their former enmities forgotten in the joy of victory. The head counselor addressed the assembled heroes. "Today marks a new era for all our peoples," it said. "Earth has proven itself a worthy member of the galactic community. The Jalek rebels have shown that change is possible. Together, we will forge a brighter future." General Johnson turned to Jimmy, who stood tall despite his exhaustion. "You did good, kid," she said with a smile. "Your parents would be proud." As the first light of dawn broke over Earth, news of the victory spread. People emerged from shelters, looking up at the sky with new wonder. The world had changed forever. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger, wiser, and with new allies among the stars. Jimmy looked out at the Earth, beautiful and blue against the backdrop of space. "What happens now?" he asked softly. Dr. Chen put a hand on his shoulder. "Now," she said, "we rebuild, we learn, and we explore. The galaxy's waiting for us, Jimmy, and we've got a lot to discover." As the sun rose on a new day, Earth took its first steps into a larger universe, ready for whatever adventures awaited.